Thank you, engineer, for that question. Because there are elections that are coming in IEK, I've seen people start saying that they are deep state in IEK. So I was elected in 2018 as a council member, and I was elected again in 2020 as a council member. So not 3 times. I'm completing my second term in the IEK council. I'm also a member of Architectural Association of Kenya Engineers Chapter, currently serving as the vice chair. So what I know we have done, and before there, I'm forgetting a very important point that Engineer Charagu raised about the contractors being central to the collapse of the building. And I think that's important point to point out, of course, from his experience, and then indicate that if then we want to fix this mess, then where the contractor is an important way. And we can consider whether we need to ensure that every contractor is not allowed to go on site without an engineer. Or something like that. So I thought that was an important point that Engineer Charagu mentioned. But coming to your question, Engineer Namano, every time there is a collapse of buildings, of late, you have seen engineers taking position and going to the site, doing the preliminary assessment, and sometimes even issuing press statements. In the council and through the structures that we have engaged EBK, we have engaged NCA, partly through the people we nominate to those boards, the boards of those organizations. But I also know we have engaged relevant state departments, and I've been involved with the State Department of Housing and Transport. Personally, I've been involved at the level of being a council member in engaging on these issues. You know that we also represented in the drafting of the building code as IEK. We also represented in the National Implementation Committee on Eurocodes. So we have been involved in giving our best professional input in this problem, and lobbying to see how it can be stopped. Now you'll also remember that IEK has also held webinars and other meetings to sensitize members on the ways to look at the quality of our design and supervision to ensure that projects do not lead to building collapsing. And Engineer Charagu is a panelist in IEK. We have engaged him also in a webinar on collapse of buildings, just to make sure members are aware on the issues that are emerging every time there's a research. And NCA, after their research, they have disseminated it to us, which means IEK has remained a central player in terms of leading this conversation. And you'll not be surprised that our members are also involved, and Engineer Charagu is one of them. And I've already indicated a number of platforms have been involved in. So yeah, what I'm saying is we have taken a leading role. And I have certain platforms with counties, CECs for infrastructure or departments responsible for buildings, and chief officers. I also know that there are counties where basically there is no registered professional engineer, and I don't want to quote some of them, but I have them, and I've had CECs and chief officers confess as much in a forum, and even go to the extent of saying, look, we have tried to do interviews and we could not get these professionals. If you ask them, they will tell you the professionals refuse the pay. Now, you cannot have a hospital running without a doctor. Why do we want to run departments that are approving buildings in counties without a registered professional engineer or a department that is well staffed? That really is an administrative decision for counties to make. What to pay professionals so that they can retain them because they see the worth of the professionals. So we have been involved in lobbying, Council of Governors, and the relevant committee of structure in the Council of Governors, so that then they come to appreciate the need for having the right professionals doing the job. Of course, I won't say that personally I've also published on this area and engaged intensely on the need for counties to take leading a role. In fact, I got myself in trouble at some point because I was accused of creating a friction between NCA and counties, which was not the case. So basically what you're saying is that we have been at the forefront as an institution, and we will continue doing this. And I'll surprise you, I had one minister, I think CEC in, I don't know whether it's Bomet, in one of the forums that I was in, that realizing how close he is to the jail in case a building collapses in his county. And that for me was a very good signal that probably they have started appreciating on the need to make sure that proper inspection and regulation is put in place at the county level to ensure that buildings don't collapse. And so I think that for me was a good indicator that yes, they start appreciating, yes, if a building collapses in your jurisdiction, you really can find yourself in jail pretty fast, because the arc of history bends towards towards justice. And what is happening is that the society is more and more knowledgeable and educated. So there's no way you can bamboozle our society by just explaining yourself into thin air of issues that are basically administrative. You should have taken a decision and you have not taken. So increasingly, when we put that pressure to counties, the departments responsible appreciate that. Then they should even create packages that professionals are willing to come and take to be employed there and do their professional job. So basically, keeping this conversation alive also helps generally, because people are more aware. People don't want to be involved in buildings that are going to collapse because of the mess that they are going in, besides just losing life. But your license is going to be attached and all that. So basically, engineer, I would tell you from where I sit, and probably a failure that we have not communicated as much, but we have played a critical and leading role in terms of making sure that our society takes a different course. We stop this and stem this collapse of buildings. Thanks, engineer.